Right. And all right. So, welcome everybody to Ask 4-H about SRTLC. I am excited to be joined tonight by three people that have helped make it happen over the years. And if you're sitting there wondering for a second, you're like, that's a lot of letters, and I'm not sure exactly what that means. Well, it does stand, so SRTLC stands for the Southern Region Teen Leadership Conference. And it is any of the southern states of the United States. So that includes 13 states. I'm not going to try to name them all right now because I'm going to forget some, I'm sure. And then I'm going to be getting a phone call or an email saying, why did you forget my state? And so, but you can kind of start to piece that together, what all 13 of those states look like.
All the
And
most important states.
exactly. We could say that. I'll take those emails and phone calls. And so I will let these three people on with us tonight introduce themselves and what their role has been with SRTLC over the past couple of years. And Grace, you can go first.
Everyone, yeah, my name is Grace Carter. I'm a 4-H agent in Duval County, and I've had the privilege of helping out with the SRTLC committee over the past, I don't know, decade. It's been a really fun time working with the group.
I was excited because I got to snag Grace back in. So she was in my position before I got in, and she was working with SRTLC. She got away for a little bit, and I was like, "Hey, Grace, you know you love this event. Do you want to come back and work with it?" So I've been excited to have her back over the past couple years. And I will give it to Vera next.
Yay. Hey y'all. I'm Vera. I'm from Warren County. And I've been to SRTLC for like 2 years now. It's been my third year coming up. But I am a committee member. Well, used to be. So it's okay. It was really fun. And my role's kind of just been to, talk around with people and like learn about all the other states, which is like a big part of SRTLC. So it's definitely like one of my favorite events, I'd have to say, at 4-H because it's just like the community that you have. But yeah, so it's really fun.
If you want to see a really hype Vera, come to SRTLC and see her give that two bits chant. Some of the hypest I think I've ever seen, and also I think the hypest that I've probably ever seen Vera.
Yeah, it was a little rough this year with my voice being gone,
A
but
little bit, but you made it work. You made it work. Go for it, Elena.
Hi, I'm Helena. I'm a graduated senior, so unfortunately I will not be at SRTLC this upcoming year. But the past year, it was my first year, and I was also had the opportunity to be on the planning committee. So, yep.
Yeah. So Vera, with you, well, I guess this could go to Grace too, because she's been coming back for multiple years as well. But Vera, with you having come over the past 2 years, I'm just curious in general, what keeps you coming back to SRTLC?
yeah, definitely what keeps me coming back is one, like the friends I made. Like I don't know what it is about it. I think because it's not such an overwhelming, humongous event that's a national event. It's one of those like kind of, you know, people that want to come and like know about it come, and it's really, really fun. And definitely like learning about the other states and like how they do things and like all the different fun things that they bring in. Like Georgia brought in Coke and peanuts, and I thought it was like the craziest thing ever. And then I tried it, and I might have to be a victim of it now, and I really like it. But besides that, definitely just like the community that you bring in, like the friendships that you forge over the like few days that you're there. It's really what keeps bringing me back all the time.
So you hear friendships a lot, memories and things like that with a bunch of different 4-H events. So it's always cool to hear that continued regardless of the event. But I think the unique thing to SRTLC is you can expand your taste palette and bring Coke and peanuts into your life.
Yeah,
Literally.
or what was it like a lemon moon pie or something?
Yep.
I don't know.
No, absolutely. And I think it's cool too that you said that the um, smaller nature of it. So, like you said, it's not that super overwhelming national event that you may go to. They're like, oh, this is so many people. And I'm like, if you're going to DC, you're like, okay, now I'm having to navigate the metro up here. I'm having to get around. I'm having to do all these things. And that leads right into our next question of where is SRTLC and how do we get there? And I'll give that to you, Grace.
Yes, so SRTLC takes place at the absolutely beautiful Clyde York 4-H Center in Crossville, Tennessee. And one of the very unique things about SRTLC is that it really does provide a leadership conference, but in a camp setting. So just
Mm.
like Vera was saying, you have kind of that built-in friendship, getting to know other people, having opportunities to have some downtime and chill time around a campfire, while also being able to take part in a leadership workshop or even lead a workshop yourself if that's something that you're interested in. The beautiful Clyde York 4-H Center in Crossville, Tennessee. And if you're thinking, how on earth am I going to get all the way to Crossville, Tennessee? Don't worry, Florida does provide a bus, so there are options for that to get you there.
Absolutely. And I think one of the coolest things is like at that type of event, talking about the camp setting, we kick off the first night with a campfire. And so you get to get around that with all of the states that are there. I think last year we probably had representation from like 8 or 9 of the 13 states. We don't always have all 13 states,
Yeah.
but it's a pretty cool opportunity. And then like you start to hear the camp stories and the camp songs that other states start to sing, and it's a really cool just meshing of like, oh wow, this is cool to see how everybody does 4-H, but everybody has their slight twist and their spin on it. So it's really cool to
Mhm.
start gathering all that. And I will say this, that if you have been to a Florida 4-H state event and you have done the fishing in the dark song or that dance, I believe that came from SRTLC at some point. And so there's some line dances that also get passed along that, I mean, now somebody's going to come to Florida and they're like, oh, I've been doing this since I've been part of 4-H. I didn't know Florida 4-H never had this. So it's cool to see those things kind of trickle in as well.
Mhm.
And if you think the Florida 4-H dances are cool, wait till you get to SRTLC and there's like 5 different states doing 5 different dances to the same song in the same space.
Yep,
Oh my God.
absolutely.
You
There
don't
might
even
be a
know.
couple
I don't even know.
collisions.
Georgia starts jumping around and doing backflips, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Vera's like, I'm not doing any backflips. I'm here to line dance. I'm not backflipping though.
Stop. It's okay, I'll just wiggle this way.
Yeah. Um, so Helena, so we actually talked about one of these things a little bit. So Vera started to go into the peanut and Coke and started to talk about the moon pies. And so there's a couple of things that happen at every SRTLC no matter what. And those two, and there's a couple others, but we'll start with two of them, the Parade of States and the Taste of the South. And so tell us about what those two entail.
So the Parade of States is basically it's an opportunity for each state to introduce themselves, right? And we do it kind of as like a little parade, like it's a little ceremony thing. So every state kind of parades up to the front of the auditorium and they introduce themselves, and they may or may not wear gator onesies while doing so if you're Florida. And so each state gets a chance to introduce themselves, and that's what the Parade of States is. And then our other chance to kind of get to know the states is our Taste of the South. And so what that is every state will basically come up with a food item that is integral to their state specifically. So, like Coke and peanuts. And I think for Florida last year, Mr. Derby, you'll have to correct me, but I know we got like lemons and limes, and then we got some
Mm.
sort of like special, like was
Miracle
it a
berries.
powder or a
It was a miracle berry, and it's
Yes, it
grown
was
in
like the
Florida.
miracle berry, and it makes the lemon and lime taste sweet instead of sour. So each state kind of comes with their own flavor, and you get to try out all of the different states' fun things.
Yeah, I think Florida the past. So I think Florida probably is the one that changes it up the most every year. Because I'm just like, oh, what else can we bring this year? But you do have some staples that come every year, like the moon pies and the ale eight. Again, I'm not going to make the guesses of which states those come from because I don't want to get it wrong. But there are some staples that you get to get every year. I think Florida's brought holly. I think we actually tried tea a couple years ago. Was that holly tea from Yupon Brothers?
Yeah, it was two
Um,
years ago.
yeah, and so that was cool because that was a lot of people's first time doing hot tea. They were like,
Mhm.
What is this?" So that was a cool experience. And like you said, last year we did the miracle berries. I think we did key lime pie stuff a couple years
Yeah,
further
I
back. So
mean it's Florida, key lime pie.
yeah, so I mean, there's so many things to celebrate in Florida. So I'm like, well, let's what do you get this year? So appreciate that. And then the other big thing that has happened in a couple different ways over the past couple years is the Southern Showdown. And so we get all the states together, and obviously there has to be some rivalry to that of like, okay, who's the best state here? How can we prove that? So Vera, tell us a
And
little bit
this year
about the
Florida's
Southern
gonna
Showdown.
win.
Yes. Well, this year we gotta get it this year. We just missed out last year. So Vera, tell us a little bit about the Southern Showdown.
Yeah. So the Southern Showdown. First of all, if you don't want to be barked at, then I wouldn't really get in a rivalry with Georgia because they will start barking in your face. But it's a really cool like event that like comes together in over like a couple days that they bring it together. Basically they're just like little things. Like one of the funniest things ever is like we have this like lip syncing like dancing thing. So Georgia, like last year, they had all these boys, and it was it was it was something. But it was really funny, and we have like kickball that gets super intense. We have all these different things that we do at Southern Showdown, and basically, it's a big competition between the states for like some golden little horse guy. Bragging rights, I guess, because everyone wants to be the best. But it's definitely super fun, and it's like everyone usually gets pretty intimidated by the idea of, oh my gosh, having to compete in it. But I feel like our Southern Showdown, we do a really good job of like making it like really friendly, even if we're in a competition. And a lot of the states like support each other in like what we do. And it's just like a way to come together as like a big family and kind of just have like a friendly competition with maybe some barking and chomping and chants.
Yeah.
Um, don't do too much if you want to lose your voice. I've been there twice. But it's
Yeah, I think
definitely
and to hit on that too, so it's not so I think I like about Southern Showdown is that we build in a lot of different components to it. So there's an artistic component. So last year we did like a quick draw and it was
mhm,
like, okay, in 1 minute draw a camp scene or something like that. And then they had judges judging all the drawings and we got points based on that. And then there was a stage portion where we did skits and some singing. There was some sports involved, there was some dancing involved. So it was really well laid out to hit on a bunch of different areas of talents and interests and things like that to, again, showcase who is the best state at SRTLC. And Helena, I want to actually throw it to you a little bit because I would love to give a little synopsis and a snippet of the skit that we made happen last year at SRTLC. Probably one of my favorite skits that I think I've seen at a camp, and all original.
Well, okay, so last year our skit was called Florida Man Anonymous. And if you don't know what Alcoholics Anonymous, or what is that right?
Give me anonymous, yeah.
But whatever. They're anonymous recovery groups, and basically the idea was that we're in a therapy group and we're trying to recover from being Florida men. And so one of our, so I think I played like an older Florida woman, and mine was 72-year-old Florida woman fights gator, and then someone else's was I think Florida man climbs tree and like is pretends to be a gorilla or something like that.
So, like
Uh,
any of the Florida Man stories you've probably seen all across the
yes,
nation,
we
we
just
parodied
we
those
just
a little bit.
yeah, we just went on Google and we like scrolled until we found the most ridiculous ones. And so those were our characters. And then our wonderful resident Miriam Thorpe, our resident theater person, put together a whole script and it was a whole skit. It was wonderful. And we should have won, by the way. We should have won.
Controversy at SRTLC. Absolutely. And then like Vera said, by the end, all the points are added up and bragging rights, but there's also, I think, a golden horse statue. I don't
mhm.
know what the horse statue has to do with anything other than that was a trophy that whoever's running it that first year found, and they're like, this is our Southern Showdown trophy. Um, so one of the things that happens at SRTLC, so a lot of the fun stuff we've talked about, more just that building of those bonds and connections and things like that. But also some educational opportunities that are also fun, and those happen in the form of our workshops. And the cool thing about SRTLC is a lot of those workshops are led by the teams that are coming. So, Helena, how do we apply to lead a workshop, and what kind of workshops do you remember, or Vera, do you remember leading yourselves or participating in?
Well, so at last year's SRTLC, I actually ended up pairing up with another committee member, and we taught a workshop on theater improvisation and how it can help like your leadership skills and how being flexible and learning to improvise is helpful in your everyday life. So there are lots of different workshops, and as I recall, now Mr. Derby, you might have to correct me, but at least being on the committee, what ended up happening is we would propose an idea for a workshop first, and we would I believe I came to Mr. Derby, and me and Miriam got together and we were like, well, here's our workshop, this is our idea. And then, they help us workshop the workshop a little bit. And eventually we'll come up with a schedule and say, here's the activities we're doing. And we'll come up with a description as well. And we'll submit that to Mr. Derby or whoever's leading that planning committee that year.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there's an application that once you apply or once you register for SRTLC, which we'll get to that a little bit later and how you can do that, you will get the information on how to apply to lead a workshop. And so it's really something that is of interest to you that you can do no problem, that you want to share with others. Veer, do you remember the workshop that you ended up doing?
Yes, so my workshop was about like the different ways to make friendship bracelets
Mm.
because I definitely feel like going to these events, like a little souvenir is like a little reminder of like your memories at these events. So, I remember we had people like flowing in from different workshops that wanted to make a little bracelet, but yeah, we kind of just with our workshops we taught each other. Like I paired up with Lizzie. I'm sure you guys all know who Lizzie is. I paired up with Lizzie and we had taught how like friendship bracelets are more than just like a piece of string, and how like forging these friendships with peoples in all these different states is like what makes 4-H what it is, and like how these different events and like different workshops and different kinds of people that come in all make such a unique little thing, which our unique little thing was our bracelet. There sure were some unique ones, but it was definitely really fun, and I really love the idea of like the workshops, and like you don't have to be a community member to do them, and you can just sign up to do a workshop yourself because it allows kids to like go out and teach people about their creative aspects of themselves, whether it be improv and theater or just bracelets making, or one of the big ones is like the line dancing. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Think a couple other Florida ones I remember. I think we took a tailgating one year.
Hmm.
And so we took the grills up there and charcoal and all that. I think the charcoal stayed in my office for a good couple months afterwards. But yeah, so there's all kinds of things so that
Mm.
you can do yourself or that you get to participate in and learn from your peers, which I think that is really cool too. A part of the event. And so another piece of this, and I forgot to mention this before, but if you're watching this likely through Facebook Live. And so if you have any questions, we come up with these questions so that we have something to give you tonight, no matter what. But this is Ask 4-H About. We are 4-H here today. So please feel free to throw any questions in the chat box of anything that you want to know as well. And so, Grace, one of the things, especially with sending youth up to another state, maybe that's the first time out of state, maybe even out of their county. And so, what does supervision look like for the event?
Sure. So at SRTLC, we have a team of screened 4-H staff and volunteers that are coming from every state. The awesome thing about SRTLC is that these adults are there to provide support and to provide supervision, but they're not just actively running the event. It really is a youth adult partnership on that committee, and the youth really are taking ownership and leadership of that event. And even youth that are coming that aren't part of the committee still get to make a lot of choices about what they want their schedule to look like, what they want to be doing. So there's a lot of freedom in that, but there are adults that are there to support safety and supervision. And then the cabin spaces are absolutely beautiful for camping cabins. Adults are in their own rooms in those cabins. So there are adults that are present throughout the event if anybody has an emergency or something like that's happening. So they're housed separately, but in the same type of facility right there. So they're ready in case anyone needs something at any time.
Absolutely. And there's 2 points I think you hit on that I want to expand on a little bit is the choices that get to happen. This kind of goes back to the workshops, but there's on-site workshop sign up. And so that's a cool piece of the event is that you get there. One, you kind of get to see what your friends are doing, the new connections that you're making, and you're like, okay, cool. Do I want to do that with them, or what does that look like? And you get the participants, the teens, have full ownership over that sign up process of what they want to do during that. And think there was another piece, but it's not coming to my brain right now, so it went away. But yes, so absolutely. And oh, the bus. And so when you're on the bus as well, there are bus captains and there are adults, screened adults on there as well, that chaperone them up to the event and back down from the event as well. So at all times. And then I think I think each day we have state check-ins. And so that's the opportunity for each state to get together and with those people that you know a little bit more from home and things like that to check in and see how the day is going, give the review of the next day. And so that's a great opportunity in a smaller group to make sure, like, does everybody know what's going on? Does everybody need anything? That's when you learn the chants and go through the things that you want to go through for the week. So definitely a lot of check-in opportunities and plenty of adults there to make sure everything's running smoothly. But more in the background, like Grace was saying, I think one of my favorite things of being on the planning committee for this is when I can maybe through the first day, it's maybe a little bit more hands-on to figure it out. And then I get to kind of step back and I'm like, okay, you guys got it. Like you guys make the announcements, you guys make sure we're on schedule, different things like that. And so another piece of SRTLC, similar to some other 4-H events, is a service component. And so Helena, you talked to us a little bit about what service looks like at SRTLC.
Yeah, so services, the service component is pretty cool because certain states will have the service throughout the years, I believe. And so last year it was actually Florida, and it was run by our very own Miss Grace Carter, who is on the call with us today. And so what we did last year is we made STEM like science kits for kids, I believe, in Duval County.
Kids, and they could get used anywhere, but for school children and then schools that needed science projects.
Mm-hmm. So we made science kits to do basically to do a science project, and then we distributed them to like underserved schools and underserved communities. And we ended up, because of like just the interest and because of the amount of kids that we have at SRTLC, and like the enthusiasm honestly is insane. We ended up getting it done super fast and we had a great time while doing it. I think we had some tunes playing, and we even had our own little trivia right afterwards, science trivia, of course, right afterwards. So our service project is a great feature of SRTLC. Plus, then you get the opportunity to serve people who you might not even be able to reach in your home state.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think so. What we started last year was each state kind of brought their own project, and so that project was specifically Florida's. I think it was Kentucky were painting canvases to take back to nursing homes and writing like encouraging notes on the back. I believe we always try to find an opportunity at Clyde York, the camp that we're at, to do some sort of project there to give back, whether that's cleaning up around their ropes course or helping to build a garden potentially or keep up with the garden that they have. So a couple different options there. But so each state kind of brings something that is important to them that then they can, like, we took back the STEM kits and then Kentucky took back the canvases. So something that it's like, okay, this is important to our state. We want to highlight that, do the project, and then take it back. And so that's a cool component of what we do there. And so we talked a lot of things, a lot of different pieces of the event. One of the things I think Helena hit on was just the amount of people that come. So we're talking about all the people from across these different states, but that's even sometimes like, okay, how many people is that actually? And so we typically end up with about 300 to 400 people at SRTLC. And again, you feel like, and especially if you've been to some of the Florida camps, you're like, can we even fit 400 people? Yes, we can fit 300, 400 people. Everybody gets a bed. But it is really cool, again, that's that sheer amount. And when you get into that first assembly, that parade of states, you're like, wow, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people that do 4-H like I do. And then you look around, you're like, oh, there's some people that are a little crazier than I am, especially when Vera's doing her loud chanting and everything. Now, but so talking about all the different pieces, it is called the Southern Region Teen Leadership Conference. And so somebody might be sitting there like, okay, so what does any of this have to do with leadership? So I'm curious from Vera and Helena. Now I know you've been on the planning committee, and that definitely is a step up with leadership. But even just participating in the event and friends that you have that have gone, how has your leadership improved from being a part of SRTLC, or even how have you seen other people's leadership improve from being part of SRTLC?
Vera, were you gonna talk?
Yeah, I'll go. So definitely like there's different ways to improve your leadership at SRTLC. So if you're not very like an outgoing person, don't want to speak in front of like all 400 people, then you don't have to do that. And there's like our little ways and how to do it. So each group, there's like different groups that go get taught a lesson on a certain day. And like in those groups, there's a lot of leadership opportunities just to lead in a smaller environment if you're overwhelmed by a lot of people. So that's like definitely one of my favorite ways and like a huge part of where my leadership came from. Definitely leading that. But I would have to say, like, even in just the state events or just like the games that we get to play in the free time, it can come from simple things like that to leading a team or to talking to everyone in the room during the dance. Or I think that SRTLC is such a great event because our leadership ways are so diverse and ways to learn them. So you don't have to feel so overwhelmed trying to achieve those goals, but at the same time, it's enough to step out of your comfort zone and feel confident while doing it in a safe environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And to add to that, I mean, just being able to experience how other people interact with each other
Mm.
and learning about all of these different states. I mean, you know, your leadership is informed by the experiences that you've had.
Mm.
And so being able to be in one place and learn about all these different things and have all of these different experiences, honestly, that in and of itself is a leadership experience because your own style of leadership will be informed by the things that you learn from the other people.
Absolutely. And so there may be some people out there that have not been as many times as you guys have been. And maybe their first time coming this next year. And Helene, I actually think you said last year was your first year.
It was.
And so I'm curious for both of you guys. I think I originally just had this as a Vera question, but I'd love to hear from both of you. Of what advice would you give to someone attending SRTLC for the first time?
Try everything and don't be scared. I know you hear that a lot, but I went in my first year and I just like dove straight in and tried everything. And I think that's like what made me so engaged with it because obviously you can make any event you go to miserable, but I think SRTLC does such a great job of giving you the opportunity to try so many different things and meet so many new people, like Helena was saying, and grow like your style of leadership from these people and to meet other people. Like go outside of your state, go like I was besties with my Louisiana people last year and I still talk to them to like every day. And so definitely go out and talk to the other states and learn about the other states and like see what keeps bringing them back as well and like what they love about SRTLC.
I'll build off that specifically a little bit, and then I'll throw it to Helena because I think a big piece there too is like, again, I'm talking 300, 400 people. You may be like, that's a lot of people to make friends with. You don't worry about making friends with all 400 people. That's
No.
impossible. You're not going to meet every single person there. But like, find that group of people. Even find that one person. Like, you can just find that one person, really
Mhm.
connect with them when you get there, and kind of have that be like, you guys can go do those things together and experience all the things. You can kind of be like a rubber band effect of like, okay, we're gonna go do these things separately. Okay, now we're coming back and kind of have come back and have that comfort zone as well. Because again, I know it can be a lot going out and doing all that. So I think that's a big piece as well. Is don't feel like you have to make 400 friends. Now, if you're the type that you want to make 400 friends, go for it. I am not stopping you, but don't feel like you have to do that either. Go for it, Elena.
Well, what I was gonna say is just they're so kind of what Vera said. I know it's kind of cliche. Everybody always says it, but you get what you put in, and there are just so many opportunities to, receive that knowledge and receive experiences. And I would say, like Vera said, just try it all. Like, it doesn't matter, like, oh, well, I'm not really that into horses, but, maybe you'd like to learn something a little more. Go to that horse workshop. Just do it. Because, I mean, this is a perfect place to try things for the first time. You're with other youth who are trying things for the first time. But then there's also a wonderful mix of youth who can, help you learn and adults who are there to support you along the way. So I would say, like, don't be scared. This is the perfect place to try that new thing that you've always been wondering about. And then you'll even be hearing about it from somebody who, you might be able to relate to a little bit better than, no offense, but one of the adults, right? Because you're learning from other youth. and you're learning from other 4-Hers who are your age and who might even come from similar backgrounds. So just don't be afraid to try stuff, especially if
Yeah.
you've been itching to do it in the first place.
Mhm.
And I think with the trying stuff, being okay if that you realize that that's not your thing either. Like trying something the first time doesn't mean that you absolutely need to love it. So learning that, doing it for the first time, and then walking away going, that's not actually really my thing. That's cool too. Now you can check that off. I don't need to go do that again. Not feeling that. So I think that's a cool piece about that as well, is recognizing like, cool, you may love it, but you also may just learn. Okay, let me go find some other things. But I scratched that itch. I did it for the first time. I did the thing that I've been wanting to do. And so we talked through all the things, and now somebody may be sitting there thinking, okay, I want to go. What do I do? So, Miss Grace, how can people register for SRTLC and find out more information?
So right now you can go online to the Florida 4-H website and look at our SRTLC page. And it's going to have some basic information about that event. Registration is open now through August 26th in 4-H Online. You're going to want to get that registration going soon, or be prepared in August once 4-H Online turns over to get re-enrolled and get your application submitted. We do know that we hit kind of that weird time of year with this registration when our 4-H Online is turning over. So talk with your 4-H staff in your local county and see what that's going to look like for you, as well as ask them about some scholarship information. So it is $325 to attend, but there are scholarship opportunities out there. So ask and see if that's an option for your county and what they can do to help support you to get you there as well. And that funds, the 325 does include your bus there. It includes your meals once you're there. So you're just packing your bedding, your clothes, snacks, things like that, but they've got you taken care of. You'll need some money for a meal on the way up and a meal on the way back with that long bus ride, but the vast majority of everything is covered in that registration fee. And if you have questions specifically, you can also send us an email at 4hevents@ifas.ufl.edu.
If you're watching on Facebook or you catch us on Facebook, I put all these links and then even that email in the chat. And I think this is going to go up on YouTube afterwards because Facebook Live started deleting Facebook Lives after like 30 days. And so if you're seeing this as a recording on YouTube later, we'll hopefully have that in the description as well. So you can see those as they pop up and as we talk about them. And so I guess, I mean, I don't want to end on logistics. Those are cool things to know, but I would really love to know, why should somebody come to SRTLC this year?
Expand like your travel of your 4-H events and to like dip yourself into something different from inside your state. So it's definitely different when you see them bulldogs dancing. But
I
it's
might get some emails from Georgia after this because of you, Vera. I
you
might.
no, I love them. They're awesome to watch. There is no hate. I just think they're so interesting to watch. They're
Yeah,
great.
no, it's cool. It's cool to see
But
that energy and feel that energy from other people.
I know. I'm like, how do you have the address? Like, how can you go that long bouncing around like that for a song? But definitely just go to forge those friendships, like we've been saying, but also to learn about all the different things from 4-H. Because I know starting out in like the big leadership and going to this event, I was able to take a lot of the things that I learned and apply it to my leadership and like where I want to go. And not even in like their ways of doing it, but just taking their way and kind of twisting it and making my own and just expanding them really how you are and who you are in 4-H and just to meet people. It's a really fun trip and it's the beginning of like the school year and you're kind of like, oh, I'm done, summer break again. But yeah.
Yeah. Elaine, you got anything?
Well, I would say honestly, it's just such a great like first step into like the world of what 4-H has to offer, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
It just gives you such a good understanding of, all of the cool different things that can happen in 4-H. And honestly, one of the best reasons why I went and why I think you guys should go is because it just gives you so many good ideas. And it gives you so many opportunities to like widen your range and learn about different things that you may not even have thought about. And maybe the other people in your state haven't thought about that. Maybe Alabama has some crazy cool project that you want to start happening in your county or in your state. And it's just a wonderful way to like expand your horizons and get to realize things that you wouldn't be exposed to otherwise.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys being on here with us tonight. I will make a quick caveat. I don't believe SRTLC registration is open quite yet in 4-H Online. We were still working out some bugs.
My bad.
That is not on Miss Grace. That's on me. We were supposed to get it open earlier this year and have not yet. But be on the lookout. You can still go on florida4h.org, find that information, and we will make sure that once registration is open, that everybody knows about it and that you can get it. If you want to get in, you will get in, all that lovely stuff. And we hope to see you at SRTLC this year. Bye, guys.